What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs. And a good week indeed. Last week, there was a lot of great movements. If you were playing any of the tech leads, even Amazon, your Tesla had a bit of a good move in the beginning of the week. Apple had ripped, Microsoft ripped. Big tech definitely carrying the load in itself. Even some of the banks did bounce in the beginning of the week, although towards the end of the week, a lot of stuff started really dying off when some other numbers came out. But being said, we're going into another week, all-time highs, both QQQ and for SPY. An economic calendar for this week. We do have the FOMC minutes on Wednesday. Again, the market is closed, obviously, Monday, July 5th. On the 5th, but there's, again, more numbers coming out. In my mind, again, the numbers really don't mean a lot. My biggest view this week will be the FOMC minutes. We may see some chop Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday morning. We may actually see some selling overnight, even possible selling Wednesday morning going into the FOMC minutes. But ultimately, I think everything else really doesn't matter. It's a short week. I think volume is going to be dead. I think a lot of big stocks will actually push with the volume. That's typically what happens during 4th of July. There's extremely bullish for the most part. So that's what I'm looking for this week. Ultimately, we have to also remember that OPEC is also going on. They actually did not accept, the United Arab Emirates did not accept the plan. I guess they want a bigger chunk of the pie. So being said, we might see oil really play into what's going on with OPEC. So that's something just to keep in mind. If we do have some kind of dramatic sell-off or what the case is, I know Kathy Woods came out with her video on Friday. She talked about the bonds a lot and how surprised she was about the bonds and oil continuing to go. She thought oil would have actually crashed, but she's saying she could possibly see oil run pretty high for a while. But being said, the market is extremely high. I've taken off the past week. I've taken off a lot of risk, and I've been intraday trading since about Wednesday. Strictly, I haven't done any swings. I did do a Tesla swing overnight, I think on I want to say it was Thursday night or Wednesday night, excuse me. But ultimately, just realized that there's still a lot. Again, big tech has really been running hot, so I'm kind of wary of that. But also being said, you have stocks like Tesla who crushed delivery numbers, and they really haven't moved too much. We do have big earnings coming end of July and early August, first week of August. So Tesla being first week of August. Being said, I think this has really kind of set everything up. We do need a bit of a pullback. We did kind of give it a pullback when value completely sold off. So the index, the SPY pulled back pretty hard last week because of value, because of a lot of second tier tech. Just pretty much crashed after the data came out for that. The Chicago PMI information came out for that. But being said, still, things are still going to run, in my opinion. We're still going to get some big movers, just finding the ones that are lagging. And so being said, SPY in itself, again, hit all-time highs. There's great strength in here. It's been wanting to sell a couple of different things, but there's been a nice enough rotation where some of the big tech, like your Apples and Facebooks, may die off, and then some of their other techs, like Teslas, and even your Facebooks or some other values like BA and stuff have been kind of pulling the weight. So the index doesn't look nowhere near as bad. So the rotation's been pretty solid and allowed us to continue up. Now, being said, we've also seen the index completely drop back here. And tech just skyrocket, right? And all the tech leads were skyrocketing during this drop. So that's something else to keep in mind. So it'll be interesting to see this week. I'm not trying to get ahead of myself this week. It's, again, a short week. I really want to see what is going on in the markets. I'm kind of expecting a good pullback here because we have ran pretty solid for a couple of days straight. It'd be nice to have a nice little pullback. A lot of stuff is starting to hit all-time highs. And at that point, I take a little more risk off. I don't try to put more risk on at this point. I want there to be a pullback, and I'm starting to see some of that. I'm starting to see some stuff get down to starting to make that move down, which I'd like to kind of see a base, and then that's why I like to take position. So like I said, we're starting to see the very first aspect of that, like your Palantirs. There's a couple other stocks I was looking at too that are doing that. Roblox really took a nosedive the last Thursday and Friday. So that is kind of what I'm looking at. QQQ again. So I did take a while to break out of this range. We did break out of it again Monday or Tuesday. I wouldn't be surprised if I actually came and retested this first. I'd feel a lot more comfortable if we retested this and then made more all-time highs with QQQ. I think that's ultimately what I'm looking for. But as far as my watch list for this week, pretty short. Again, there's a lot of stuff that's really running hot. I'll be doing a lot of intraday stuff for the most part. If I do a swing, trying to avoid from doing multi-day swings. Just an overnight session is what I'm looking at. But I do like Tesla. I do like Roblox and Etsy. I think those were the ones. These ones ultimately, I like these because they have been lagging opposed to your Amazons and your Facebooks and your Apples, who've just been going red hot over the past couple of weeks, actually. And so these ones have really been lagging. They're just waiting to really break out, in my opinion. Some of these have. Your Etsy finally broke out. It's kind of holding range right now. Roblox started to try to break out. It did pull back, and now it looks like it's setting up for another big wedge for another big breakout. So being said, Tesla, the first one, as always, as you can see, it's very apparent that you have this very bullish box here. It's just a matter of time before this breaks, in my opinion. But definitely want to be in this. Ultimately, if we are holding this come Monday, I really like that 660 mark is really what I've been looking at. But if it does hold this box, kind of around that 670 mark, I'm going to try to take some shares in this ultimately, because I think once this breaks out, it's really going to make a rip, at least 100, I think, at this point, or at least to that 780 mark. I think is a very strong possibility for Tesla. So I definitely want to keep a really close eye on this, because I think this is going to be one of the bigger movers this week. Yes, your Amazon, your Apples, your Facebooks can still keep going, but I think ultimately the best bet in my mind would probably be Tesla here with what is going on. Roblox is the next one I have, and the reason why I like this one so much is actually on the daily. You have this huge wedge here. I did take a position here. I did sell up here. This pullback, I've been waiting for it to kind of base, but now that I've seen this wedge, been debating taking a position here. I don't like this tight range here, because it can chop and go either way at this point. So I think ultimately what I want to do is wait for a break. If it does break down, I'll wait for it to base, and then I'll go ahead and take position there. If it does break, I will definitely, from out of the top side, I'll definitely be jumping in at that point. But being said, I do like Roblox this week. Etsy is the other one. We are retesting on Etsy. I didn't take a position on Friday. I didn't want to take a position because of the long weekend, but ultimately, what I like to see is a pullback here. Maybe to 192 might be a little bit too much, but we'll see what happens here. And I think it could, again, get ready to pop for all-time highs, especially with earnings and everything coming up. I think Etsy has really been building up. It's been consolidating for a very long time. And so I want to see a big move out of this. Possibly to that 220 mark is very, I think it's very easy. It's not far from a far reach to get 220. I think in my mind, what we're looking at, that will be the first major target. Then after that, we'll start looking at that 250 mark and stuff like that. But I do really like Etsy going into this week. And then just for the rest of the week, again, your Amazons, your shops, your Apples, I think all those still got some room. I think Apple could still hit 145, test all-time highs, break that. We're kind of in this discovery mode at that point. Airbnb is kind of been annoying. It's been playing this range, so that's something I've been keeping an eye on. If we do start breaking out on that, I would like Airbnb as well. Amazon is another one. Does break this, essentially that 35.49 mark, we can really see get some price discovery and really see some major liftoff for Amazon as well, especially going into earnings. They completely crushed earnings and didn't do anything after earnings on the last earnings. Just the market was a really bad state at that point in March. So being said, I think it's going to be a good week. I think there's still a lot of good stuff. Again, we do have the FOMC notes. We might place a little bit of sideways from that point, and then find some wings at that point, and then start tearing off this week. So I think there's a lot of great action that's going to happen this week. I don't think we're high. I think we need a little bit of a pullback because we have seen possibly too much green. So a pullback would help things out and not make them so stressful at these high levels. Again, I'm trying to reduce risk because they are high, and so I'm looking for that correction at some point. So being said, that's what I got. If you did enjoy this video, remember to like it on the way out and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Until next time, I will see you guys later.